This is a cassette tape. Some of you might remember those. Some might have never seen one in person. This right here is a cassette recorder. It's not just any cassette recorder, it's the first cassette recorder. It's not even like the first portable cassette device or the first recording cassette device. It is the first cassette device. It's a Philips EL3300 released in 1964, and I've also got the original manual and the splendid condition case for carrying it around when you go and do your high quality field recordings. Look at this. It's the 3301, by the way, that I have. It's not the 00, but it's all the same. They are the first. You can see some technical data there. Wow and flutter of 0.5%. I can confirm. Pretty high wow and flutter on this one. Why are we looking at this thing? Well, in 1968, the Rolling Stones were recording their Beggar's Banquet album. And on that album is the track Street Fighting Man, recorded on one of those in a hotel room by Keith Richards and his acoustic guitar. He put the mic into his guitar, allegedly, or maybe just put it really close and drove this thing into overdrive. And then they used the mic on the speaker and used that recording in the final mix. It's the iconic intro. You can see we got these weird 1960s plugs. Very annoying from today's point of view. So he was probably cranking this one all the way. Let's have a look inside. Oh, that's how to operate these things. You just put this lever up there and you can see this one is working. It's working because I actually changed the belt. The original belt was of course long gone, but the new one is doing a good job. Pretty nice condition. Runs on battery only. And the most important thing that we probably need for that sound is the microphone. Still got the original cheap microphone. This thing was meant for voice recording. It wasn't really meant for high fidelity music. But you know, you could still, very portable device to record music. So many musicians were probably carrying these units around. And yeah, let's listen to some 1960s OG overdrive rock and roll sounds with this thing and my acoustic guitar. First things first, let's tear into this new old stock cassette tape found on eBay. It's not a high quality tape, but it's 1999 Y2K tape. So let's tear into this thing. Wow. That feeling of a newly opened cassette tape. Let's give it a smell. Smells like nothing. Oh. The case has a very bad smell. That is our tape, and you just put it in here. Let's get rid of the lid for the duration of the video. All we need to do is put in this microphone and its attached remote and plug it into the player. Let's actually see if this thing records. Go back to the beginning. The engine is kind of weak. Ah, okay. So I guess if we press the remote, it plays. No, it doesn't. If we press the remote, it stops. Okay. This right there is the indicator, and we want it to go beyond the red. So obviously we need to crank everything. 1, 2, there we go. It's cranked all the way. Let's listen back. I wonder if we even recorded something. 1, 2, there we go. It's cranked all the way. Let's listen back. Okay, that was the device cranked all the way. Let's go for a low volume and check how it cleans up. It kind of cleans up like a fuzz pedal. Probably germanium transistors in there. 1, 2, there we go. It's cranked all the way. Let's listen back. Interesting. We can probably do some nice recordings as well. Test 1, 2, testing for nice recordings. We are not going in the red, we are staying low. Let's see how it sounds. Test 1, 1, 2, testing for nice recordings. We are not going in the red, we are staying low. Let's see how it sounds. Okay, one more thing to do. Let's crank that what we just recorded cleanly. Let's crank the amp all the way. Do some nice recordings as well. Test 1, 2, testing for nice recordings. We are not going in the red, we are staying low. Let's see how it sounds. Alright. Sounds kind of promising. Let's take an acoustic guitar and just see what will happen. We're gonna recreate that Street Fighting Man riff, kind of, if I remember how to play it. And yeah, I'm curious how this thing sounds with some blues. Some acoustic blues and maybe some resonator loud sliding blues. We're gonna try it out. Let's go. We are in open D tuning. And this is a around 1970 famous Texan. It's a 12-string conversion. And it has a beautiful back. Look at that. I'm not gonna put the microphone into the guitar like, I don't know, some people online suggest that Keith has done. I'm just gonna put it very close and keep the input cranked all the way on this thing. Let's record something, shall we? It's spinning. I was banging as loud as I could. Let's give it a listen. Sounds absolutely glorious. Glorious. Sounds very crappy, but in a good way. Very saturated, very compressed, very tube amp-like actually. It's got that sag going, you know? Wow. And there's a little bit of, I don't know, probably flanger or something like that on there. Just the perfect amount. It's got this psychedelic edge to it. Let's record some normal blues to it and see how that sounds, shall we? Okay, it's the old Dobro National Johnson copy. It's a metal guitar. It's not a heavy metal guitar, but it's a metal guitar and it's louder. Let's just record some nonsense and see how it sounds. Alright, we gotta conclude the video positive. It sounded absolutely amazing. Very glorious, crap sounding, fuzzy, distortion overdrive, something. Probably germanium transistors in there. It's just gorgeous. I feel like there's a lesson to be learned somewhere in between this tape and that tape recorder and this Street Fighting Man riff. They were using a flaw. They were using a crappy device that couldn't handle what they wanted it to do. And they still did it, and they came out with a very creative solution. It teaches us about creativity. It's not about buying the next gear and buying more stuff and buying more expensive stuff and hand-wired stuff and whatever. That's fine if you like that, but the real creativity lies in somewhere with doing with what you got, you know? That's the rock and roll kind of spirit. Just take whatever you get and try to find some obscure and creative way of handling it. So even if we are using tape players now, we can still hoard more gear. Like now it's time to hoard tape players, let's say. And we got some different variations here. This is a Saber made in Germany with a nice needle and a limiter built in. So I wonder how that sounds. And this is a crappy 1980s Sanwa. No idea how that's gonna sound, but these both are probably gonna sound better than this one. If these two are better or worse than this tiny one in the middle, we're gonna see in a future video. This one has a limiter built in, and it's got a nicer needle. It's a made in Germany device. This one, I'm not sure if this one has a limiter built in. This one certainly has none, and that's the best thing about this player. It's not very good for listening to pre-recorded tapes because it will play them too fast or too slow depending on its mood and depending on the battery capacity in there. This one won't, and this one also won't. These two play very fine. This one is the worst. But we love worst, don't we? We like the bad stuff over here. Thanks for checking out my video. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share it with some tape-loving friends. People need to use these things again. Always remember, the tape hiss is always gonna be there. But the tape is not our enemy. It always has been our friend, and it will forever be our friend. So just accept the hiss, the compression, and all the flaws. Because it's a friend. Leave a comment if you have used tapes before. What was your last tape experience? Let me know. And I will see you in a couple of days actually for the next video. Bye bye.